Hello everyone, and welcome to another Minecraft Redstone tutorial. My name is Glitch. Today we are looking at making a hidden entrance that uses a 1x2 flush with the wall piston door, more commonly known as the half gem door, that works in both Bedrock Edition and Java Edition using the exact same design. We'll also add in a hidden input because let's face it, having a hidden door is pointless if you have to leave some kind of a switch that shows where it is. Now at the moment, we are in a peaceful Java world that my daughter and I play on. Recently we found a mesa biome and decided to turn one of the plateaus into our base. And since there are so many mine shafts around, I decided it would be fun to turn one of them into the entrance. So to demonstrate, to open the door, you enter the mineshaft, come to the dead end, and then you throw any item into this corner block right under this cobweb. Disappears, wait a second, and the door opens, come through, and then to close the door, simply remove your item from the barrel, and the door is closed. And then when you need to leave, you simply place your item in, and the door opens, and you follow the same steps in reverse. And now the door is shut. Now that we've looked at the door in action, let's jump over to a creative world to dive into the actual build. I'm going to cover the door and the hidden inputs separately, and there will be a timestamp in the description below showing the time if you want to jump ahead because you already have an entrance, but just want to try out a new hidden input. That being said, let's go ahead and look at our materials list. For the door, you will need the following supplies. Around a dozen structure blocks, 2 pieces of glass, 6 sticky pistons, 1 redstone repeater, some redstone dust, and 1 redstone torch. Now this list does not include the blocks that will make up your wall, as those will be dependent upon your build. You will also need a 7x7 area for the door. This will include the wall that the door is placed in, as well as 1 block in front of the door for the input. The smooth stone blocks represent the 3x4 area for the hidden input, as well as the line of smooth stone to represent the hopper line that we'll need to put in. However, I will show you how to install this after the door is built, only changing the placement of 1 redstone torch to make it all work together. Now I went ahead and set up a mock-up of our wall. So to start things off, we're going to come in and build basically the classic half gem door. So place down 4 sticky pistons facing the inner portal, and then you want to come in front of those pistons and place down 2 more facing your wall. So you're going to have this kind of V shape. Next up, take out structure blocks and place them in an L shape running on top of your pistons. Take out your redstone dust and you want to place it on the bottom of the L, and then take out a repeater and place it on the block directly above that. This should be in line with your forward-facing pistons, and then you are going to want to set your repeater to 3-tick delay. If you're building this in Java Edition, you can get away without the delay, but if we want this to work in both versions, you'll need the 3 ticks. Then go ahead and place 1 more piece of redstone dust going into the repeater. Now the challenge is trying to get the signal into this bottom piston. Because the classic design for this door uses the mechanic of bud-powered pistons, meaning that if we power this piston, some of the signal is passed along to the bottom piston, and therefore both of them fire. But this doesn't exist in Bedrock. and leaves you not firing on all pistons. Or you can run the redstone dust directly on top of the pistons like we can in Bedrock, since they are a redstone component. But doing this in Java just leaves you with a mess to clean up. So to work around this problem, take out your structure blocks, place one block on the side of the outside piston, and then 3 blocks coming along the back of your piston wall. Then come to the side opposite the door, and opposite where your pistons will end up when the door is closed, place down one structure block, and then you want to build up to where your redstone line is with glass. So one block here and one block here. Now take out your redstone dust, and we're going to go ahead and connect everything up. So first off, run a line along the blocks on the back piston wall up to our repeater, and then you'll place a piece of redstone dust on this block as well as on the glass. Now before we activate it, let's go ahead and place our blocks in, and then you place down a redstone torch on the block next to your redstone dust on the glass. That powers everything, and the door closes. Now if you wanted to use the door, you would simply come to the block opposite your redstone torch, place down a lever. Oops, wrong. There we go. And that will invert the torch and deactivate everything, and you can come through. And if you wanted to close the door, you could go ahead and place a lever next to your redstone dust, power it, and everything is powered once again. But doing that kind of defeats the purpose of having a hidden entrance. So let's look at adding in our hidden input. For the hidden input, you will need the following supplies: 5 structure blocks, 1 barrel, 2 droppers, 4 hoppers, 1 minecart with hopper, 1 piece of rail, 3 redstone comparators, 2 redstone repeaters, 2 additional redstone torches. You will also need the one that originally was used for the door, some redstone dust. You will also need a regular piston and a lever. However, these are only used in the building process. As stated before, the hidden input will need a 3x4 area. Well, it will also be built 1 block below the floor level, and you will have a line of hoppers coming from the front of the build to the start of the 3x4 area. Now I modified our model just a little bit to demonstrate how you can do this in survival, because there's a little bit of up and down when it comes to putting in all the components. And you won't have the ability to fly around as you try to install this in your base. Basically, all I did was break out 1 block on each side of the door and drop in some scaffolding. I would also recommend putting some structure blocks in. It makes it much easier to do the layout when you go to put the wiring in for the hidden input, as well as a 2-block channel all the way around your 3x4 area. That way you can walk around and place things. With that being said, let's get started. First off, let's go ahead and break out our torch so the door opens. If you are doing this in survival, I would recommend building some kind of a safety cage outside of your door. That way you can work on this without a mob coming along and disturbing you. But once you've done that, go ahead and break out the block directly behind your the block with the redstone dust on it, and then you are going to take out your droppers, place one in facing upwards, and then you're going to crouch place one more on top of that. Then take out your barrel and place it over the droppers. Next up, we're going to come down under the build, and you want to take out your hoppers, and you're going to place 4 hoppers coming out of the dropper. So crouch place 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, let's go back up. And then you want to break out the block over your hopper, your last hopper. And then just to make things easier, you want to break out the block in front of that. Let's go ahead, place 1 block down here just to make it a little easier. Next, take out a piece of rail and crouch place it onto your hopper, and then place a minecart with hopper on top of that. Then drop down in, and I think we're going to have to back up just a little further here. You want to very carefully break out the rail. So let's up there. And now our minecart with hopper should be sitting directly on our hopper. Then take out a regular piston, place it facing down, 1 block above your floor level, and put a block that matches the floor on the face. Place down a lever, activate, deactivate. This should place your block push your block into the minecart with hopper. And then we can just go ahead and break out the piston. We won't be needing them again. Go back up, place that in, and now any item that we toss onto this block will go through into our system and on into the droppers. Now, let's go down and we'll go ahead and work on wiring things up. Now, humorously enough, one thing I did just notice, whenever I do my Redstone video worlds for builds, I will always build a mock-up of the completed contraption at somewhere in the world just for reference. And I realized because it is facing the opposite direction, I put this in touch backwards. So let's go ahead and fix that quick. For your 3x4 area, you want to have the structure blocks starting with the dropper in the corner of your 3x4 area. Now at present, our dropper has the piece of rail in it, but let's go ahead and get things wired up. So start out by taking a comparator and taking a signal out of the dropper, and then you're going to place down a block and run that signal into the block. Come through, and we are going to take a repeater signal out of the block, and then we're going to place down 1 more block, and then we need to take a comparator signal out of this block. Now, the next thing we're going to do is take redstone dust, and you want to run it in a loop coming out of the comparator, and then we're going to take this little button, and you will notice that it immediately places it in subtraction mode, and also you get this flashing. This is because this is what's called a comparator clock. It's a very simple way to get a fast, reliable pulse in the game. Now the reason it's doing this is because we still have our item in the dropper. Next up, we're going to take out an observer, place our back to the hoppers, and then we're going to place the observer with its face looking towards the comparator clock. So now you'll notice as soon as I place down the observer, you heard a slight tick, and that is because the observer detected the redstone dust and fired out a redstone signal into the dropper, and because there's only 2 droppers, there is enough signal for them to send our item up into the barrel up above. So now let's go ahead and go up, and our item is now up in the barrel. Now to finish wiring up the hidden input, let's go ahead and take out take a comparator and take a signal out of your barrel. It should be active because we still have our item in there. We're going to take that out for just a few moments. Now go over and place a repeater at a right angle to your comparator, and then place a piece of redstone dust to connect the two. Run your repeater into a block, and then place two more blocks in an alternating fashion up to where the redstone line would be. So you should end up with this zigzag formation. Now take out redstone torches, and you're going to place them on the inside face of each of the blocks. So place one here, place one here, and then place one here. And that should close your door. So you should have, if done correctly, you should have the top and the bottom torches active, and the middle one is inactive. The door closed as soon as we place down our top torch, and that is because it is now powering the redstone dust on top of our glass. So now, all we have to do is when we come to our door from the outside, is toss in any item, and the door activates. We come through, and now the comparator has an output, and therefore, because there's an item in the barrel, the comparator has an output, and then it passes that along to the repeater, which then inverts this torch, and then the torch tower inverts it up to where there is no power going into the system. It keeps the door open, but then once we remove our item, the comparator loses its signal, the torches invert back to their original state, and the door closes once again, and our base is hidden away. Now, if you wanted to, you could also add in an item filter so that only a certain item would allow the door to open, but I think that's going to be a subject for a future video. For now, the build is complete and our base is secure. Hidden entrances are just one of the fun aspects of Minecraft. Whether you're playing on a server or a single-player world, they can add a level of immersion to and be an enjoyable part of your builds. I hope you find this build fun and useful as you try it in your worlds. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and also consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. My name is Glitch, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.